Hello everybody, welcome back. This is Tinker77. Today we're going to do a tutorial on this blueberry juicer. It's an automatic farm to take blueberries, craft them into juice, and show you an output of juice. Now it's been requested that I do this tutorial, so let's get started. For this tutorial, I'm going to use blueberries as the source for the juice. Now there are two different types of blueberries inside of the FoolCraft mod pack. There are the blueberry bush, which comes from Natura, and there are the blueberries that come from Pam's FoolCraft. Now both can be used for juice, but as far as the automated farm, you really only want to use one. So here, I'm going to grab this here, and you can see we got a blueberry. Okay, you can make juice from that. But here, if you go, you can see you'll get, those are also blueberries. Now the interesting thing about this is what you want to get are seeds, and this doesn't produce anything. If you go here, you can get seeds. And that's what you want to get. So out in the wild, even though you'll see these, and these will work fine for juicing manually, you want to get these because these are the ones that you can plant. So that's the first assumption, is that you're going to find whatever bush you're going to find for this. And there's a bunch of those. If we look at Pam's FoolCraft, you can see there are blackberries and candleberries, just different things. So you can find it out in the wilderness. What you want to do is get those seeds. The farming station that we will use shortly requires a hoe to work properly. Now a hoe, you'll keep having to supply hoes because they'll break over time. So you want to try to make one that's unbreakable. So what I choose, as I have always done it with a Manila Matic, the Matic counts as a hoe. The reason I chose this is because if you look here, it says modifiers 5, which means you're allowed to put 5 different modifiers on it. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the reinforcements. If we put 5 of those on it, it will become unbreakable. Okay, so we're going to go over here to the tool station. You'll put this in here, and you can see it has 5 modifiers. It just says cold-blooded and insatiable. And what we're going to do, I just put 5 of those items in there, and you get reinforced. Now it says reinforced 2, and so on. Reinforced 3, reinforced 4, and now we'll get unbreakable. So that's another part that we're going to need for this particular project. The last assumption is that you have some sort of RF power. I'm going to use a capacitor here that I have filled up with 25 million RF, but whatever your power source is, you need to have power that you can use. Okay, so let's get started here. What you're going to want to use is you're going to want to use a farming station. That's what this is called. Okay, so we're going to put that down. Now the idea of the farming station is it will do all the work for you for farming. So the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to right click on this, you want to open it up, and here you have spots for the tools. We're going to put the Matic right here. Okay, that's where it goes. It's ready to go. Now these are the spots for your seeds, so we can put the seeds in there. Now I don't think it takes a full 16 on each of them, but that's just a full stack divided by 4, which is why I have it. It also has a spot where you can add bone meal, and I'm not going to cover that, but you can add in a way to feed bone meal into this so it'll work faster. I have found it hasn't been really necessary. I tend to not use juice as fast as it would produce. Okay, so that's what's going on here. You've got the seeds. This is the output that comes out of it. Over here is the power. You notice it doesn't have any power. So that's the first thing we're going to do here. We're going to line up the power. Okay, so we're going to go off the top of this. Now I'm using Ender energy conduits. It's the high-end conduit, but that's fine. You can use whatever you'd like. Okay. Now as soon as I put this down, it has the seeds. It's going to say, hey, I can start working, and you'll watch it start planting right away. Here we go. Just like that. It's already planted the seeds, and if you notice here, we have 4 of each. So really needed just 12 on each spot. So a total of 48. Now you can see it's also gaining power. Now it's monitoring this, and it will use the Matics to gather materials. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here on the side. I'm going to put a crafting tier 3, which you can make, and I'm going to feed that power because if you look at it, it also needs power. So we're just going to come right off of this right here, and we're going to feed power to it. And that's what you need to do for the power systems. Okay? And there you go. The next step we're going to do here is we're going to set up the recipe inside of the crafter. So when you right click on here, you want to see a bunch of recipes. They're all empty right now. Double click on the first one so you've selected it. You can go between them, but double click the first one. Now what you want to do is, what is the recipe? Well, it takes a juicer, which you see it went up there, and you need a blueberry, which is coming from the farm, and it will make blueberry juice. And we'll hit apply. Okay, that is the recipe. Now make sure this is set to external when you did that. Okay, now so what happens then is that if you have the juicer here, and I put the blueberry in, You see we got the output was, this is the output buffer, blueberry juice and the juicer. But the problem is we want the juicer to go up here, be back in there. So we need to make a loop to take it out of here and put it into here. That's what we're going to do next. Okay, so on this side over here, I'm going to put an item conduit. And we're going to say that that is extract. We're going to put into here an item filter, and we say, hey, I only want whitelisting the juicer. Always active. So the juicer will come back out of the output, and you're going to file that around all the way back in and say this is to insert. So it came out of the output and it's going back into the input side. And you can see the juicer's ready to go. The next step is to set up the output to hold the blueberry juice that's created. We'll put a chest down here, and then we're going to shift right click and put in an item conduit. Now, we're going to go on to here, we're going to set up a filter. We're going to filter whitelist juice. Okay? And we're going to say always active. Now if you look in here, we have one juice ready to go, nothing in the chest. We will then set this into instead of extract to insert, and the juice is made in. So now what happens is if another blueberry comes in, you can see the juicer went down, juicer went back, and we have one more juice there. The last step is to get the blueberries that have been harvested over into the crafter. Now if you look here, right now we have 40 blueberries that have already been harvested from this farm. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the item conduit, we're going to go right here and we're going to control right click. And you can see it actually brings up another item here. Okay. Now this is going to be, if you right click on it, down here at the base, you can see it's extract. We're going to say always active, which means it will always extract the output. Okay, now we're going to do a control right click again, and you can see it's adding to this line. They're kind of sharing the same space. Control right click, control right click, control right click, and you can still see the arrows pointing upwards, which means it's going to be extract. Now let's see how many things we have here. It's already pulled them out. We're going to go in here and we're going to say insert. If you look over here, we have 42 juices. It's already been completed. Now to see this run in action, I'm going to add some bone meal, just so you can see this. If you add bone meal up in these spots here, you'll see that some of the plants start growing. And then they immediately get shrunk down as they're harvested. And it's coming across here. You can see they'll pop in. It makes the juice, and the juice ends up in the chest. So that's how you do this automated blueberry or any other berry juicing farm. That's it for this tutorial. Thank you for joining me. If you like this video, please click the like button. If you have any comments, put them in the comments section. And if you'd like to be notified of any videos I produce, please subscribe to this channel. Again, I am Tinker77. Thank you for joining me. Bye-bye.